I'm Nicole Lawrence, and as a preteen, I devoured every science fiction book on my parents' bookshelves, reading Heinlein, Hubbard, and especially Asimov, who introduced me to the remarkable potential of AI. I'm Nicole Lawrence, and my senior project Ed Talk is about a brand new AI programming assistant, GitHub Copilot. Billed as the AI programmer of the future, will it someday be the only programmer of the future? I first read about Copilot in a less than thrilled tweet from an early previewer. Since I like shiny new things, I immediately joined the waitlist for a technical preview beta offering. I gained access about a week ago and wanted to share what it does well, what it does not do well, and where it will probably go in the future. GitHub Copilot is an IDE extension, billed as the virtual programming assistant you never knew you needed. It was created from a partnership between Microsoft-owned GitHub and OpenAI. It will eventually be released as a commercial product. Let's look at how Copilot works. The brain here is the OpenAI Codex. This is a third-generation generative pre-trained transformer model, a very smart machine learning unit. It's been trained on open-source public GitHub repositories, maybe even some of yours, to learn how to present valid coding solutions. Once the current file has enough code or comment text, the Copilot extension sends it to the OpenAI Codex network. All that training on public repositories is put to work creating multiple possible solutions based on the data. These are then sent back to the coder. Just hit tab and accept the best solution. Some technical details. GitHub Copilot is currently available for NeoVim, JetBrains, PyCharm and IntelliJ IDEA, and Visual Studio Code IDEs. While it works with many frameworks and languages, its specialties are in Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, Ruby, Java, and Go. The reason Copilot is novel and different from previous AI assistants: it can generate entire multi-line functions, comments, and tests. It makes suggestions based on both file and code context. It autofills repetitive code and can translate comments into code suggestions. My admittedly limited experience with Copilot agrees with the reviews I've read. Copilot suggestions are slow compared to user typing and thinking speed. The suggestions aren't compiled or tested before offered to the coder. Suggestion context is limited to within 100 lines of current point in file. Suggestions might also include old or deprecated libraries or languages. It's important to note that Copilot is the focus of several legal and ethical discussions. Under the microscope are the implications of using public repositories, how to define open source legally, having access to user data, and who has ownership of Copilot-assisted code. GitHub has tried to address these issues, but this discussion will continue as Copilot gains in popularity. So what is the final verdict on Copilot? Let's check with an expert. Jeremy Howard is a founding researcher at the Fast.ai Deep Learning Institute. He is also credited by OpenAI's head researcher Alec Radford as the inspiration for the original GPT language model behind the OpenAI Codex. Mr. Howard wrote an article that, in part, listed Copilot's many deficiencies. Some of his complaints were mentioned in the previous slide. His frustrated comments on Copilot's verbose, inefficient, or non-functional code reminded me of a quote from Asimov. Aimless extension of knowledge is merely inefficiency. It seems for all the learning that OpenAI has, it does not yet have the human element of wisdom. However, his conclusion is notably optimistic. He says, complaining about the quality of the code written by Copilot feels a bit like coming across a talking dog and complaining about its diction. The fact that it's talking at all is impressive enough. Let's be clear. The fact that Copilot and Codex writes reasonable-looking code is an amazing achievement. But we also need to be clear that reasonable-looking code that doesn't work, doesn't check edge cases, and uses obsolete methods, and is verbose and creates technical debt can be a big problem. The thing to remember is that Copilot is an early preview of a very new technology that's going to get better and better. I hope that you can have a chance to try out Copilot in the future, and you can enjoy trying out some new AI tech. Thank you.